Mariah Cruz, and this is for my ELM 200 class. My professor is Professor McCabe, and I'll be discussing PBL, also known as project-based learning. Project-based learning is the act of learning through identifying a real-world problem and developing a solution. Today I chose the PBL called the Tiny House Project by Cher Badista of Catherine Smith Elementary School, San Jose, California. She introduced this project to her third grade students and was able to incorporate it into her language arts, reading, as well as math curriculum in order to get the kids engaged. I feel like the Tiny House Project, it engages students because it gives them the freedom to create without boundaries, but also being able to foster and create connections and relationships with others without compromising who they are. It allows students to follow and study a process from start to finish. Students are working in real time with real life situations in which they're learning how to problem solve those situations. Giving our students the freedom to create freely helps our children to grow and develop, but it also fosters them to be confident and competent in communication, curious and resilient explorers, and creative thinkers. Students face challenges with the Tiny House PBL because they were given clients in which they had to design a tiny house for. They had to also take into consideration the client's budget, the client's personal preferences, the location of this tiny house, as well as how many people may live in this tiny house with the client. Bloom taxonomy falls into the tiny house PBL because they had to hit all categories: create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember. Students have to create a tiny house for their client. They have to evaluate the location, that they evaluate the preferences of each person that lived in the house, how they would want their room set up, how they want this to look, that to look. They have to analyze to see if everybody's preferences will retrofit with the budget as well as the location and the size of the house. They then apply everything that they've learned from the clients, the location and the size of the house, as well as the budget. They have to understand that as designers that everything won't be able to fit in the house that everybody wants, and that'll be due to everybody's preferences. Stuff doesn't mesh well together, or they don't have enough space, or the budget just doesn't permit it. And they also have to remember that while creating to stay true to themselves, although they do have a client and the client has expressed what they like, they also have to add their own little spin and their own flavor to the tiny house. So the Tiny House Project is justifiable in their learning and cognition because they were given different life skills that they'll be able to apply as they go through life. For example, how to conduct themselves during a presentation. They were taught eye contact, how to dress, their posture, their voice level, their tone, and also how to say things. They were also introduced to new skills and concepts like a blueprint, as well as how to budget and stay on budget when building their client's teeny house. Students were also able to build upon knowledge they already have while also learning and understanding new skills and how to take real life problems and provide a solution to it. So for example, they were given clients and they were able to take their clients' preferences and see how they'll be able to retrofit it into a tiny house. So they had to troubleshoot how they would be able to take everything the client wanted and put it into a small house or a living space. I also think that this project was and is beneficial to learning because the teacher was able to implement it into their curriculum. So students were given different things to do in their rotation. So some students have vocabulary words that pertain to the Tiny House Project. They did also work with their teacher in reading, and the readings were pertaining to more knowledge on building a tiny house and information that would be helpful in this project. They also were able to implement it into their math skills as well. They took Cheez-Its and were able to build and lay out how to the parameters of their houses as well. So I just think that was also really neat how they were able to learn about the project and their rotations and their centers. All in all, the Tiny House PBL allows students to create freely without any boundaries. while enhancing new skills such as budgeting as well as building a blueprint, and also learning another very important skills that as they progress in their student life, that become very helpful to them, such as giving presentations and what to do while in presentation and the behavior that you'll need for presentations. I feel like the tiny house PBL enhance those students' cognition by challenging how they can help others while staying true to themselves. Thank you.